Hello, and welcome to another coffee break. Today's 5 things you should know is on tariffs and your money. Now, before you click off, we are not going to get political, I promise you. I know we're all tired of that. This is really just information so that you can make decisions out of knowledge rather than fear, because the media loves to fearmonger. I could go on and on about that, but I won't. But this is really going to go through some of the negatives and positives, because tariffs are going to, if they haven't already, affected your cash flow, your retirement, definitely the stock market. We saw that in April of 2025. And we are not done with tariffs. It has fallen out of the headlines, but it is definitely still part of our world. And who knows what's going to happen with it, right? So let's make sure we make informed decisions. Now, if you are new here, welcome. You might be going, well, what is coffee break? What is this? Why does this look different than the other videos you have up? Well, this is made for 401k participants, particularly. You guys don't get a lot of education, and this is here to help you. Quick and dirty. It's basically the strategies for you to take and help yourself with your retirement decisions. It's supposed to be short and sweet. It is supposed to be long enough for you to drink your coffee, enjoy a little break, and then go right back to work, hopefully. And we're just going to cover highlights. So if you ever want anything more detailed for your situation, then feel free to set up a time. You will see that at the end of the video, a QR code to set up a time, or you can visit us on our website. All that information will be at that. Okay, so just a little bit about us so you know who I am. Chris and I have been part of One Vision Retirement for, I think, 4.5 years now. I don't know. That might be wrong on that. I think 4.5 years. But obviously, we've had a lot of experience. One Vision has been great and a short-lived thing, but we've been in the business a long time. And you can kind of see that I work with people like you who are employees places and trying to figure out their benefits and how it works for them. Chris tends to work with your boss. He works with business owners helping put these benefits into place. So we've got it covered for you, no matter who you are. Maybe you are the boss watching, right? And so, we're happy to help with anything we can, and we love to give some education to people so that they are able to make the right decisions for them in their planning. Okay, so let's get into it, since I have 15 minutes or less for this. Now I have about 13 minutes or less. All right, so I think people get confused of what tariffs are. By the way, if you see me looking off, I'm looking at my notes to make sure I cover everything I'm supposed to. So what is tariffs? What are tariffs, right? A tariff is essentially a tax or a fee imposed by a country on goods or services, by the way, people don't talk about that, brought into this country from another country. Imports. Think of it like a sales tax, but specifically for foreign products. Okay, so it is a fee that the company that is bringing the product into the country is paying the country. So it is an extra income stream for the U.S. It is an extra cost for the person trying to bring that good or service in. Now, let's give an example so people can understand this. If the US puts a 10% tariff, which is currently what's in place for most places, on imports toys from, let's say, China. Now, I know China has a higher percentage than that, but let's just say it's 10%, right? 10% tariff on imported toys from China. For every $100 worth of toys, the US importer has to pay an extra $10 to the government. Okay. So oftentimes people meaning businesses, will put that extra $10 into the cost of the good when they sell it to you. And that is why people say it's a tax on the consumer. Now, is that always going to be the case? I don't know. I don't know if the tariffs are going to stay in place or not, but tariffs are here whether we deal with them in our country or it's happening in other countries, because a lot of other countries have it too. So it's a good thing just to know in general. Okay, so let's go into how tariffs can affect your money. First way is a negative way, which is higher prices, which was what we just talked about. So, the companies that import the goods often pass that on to the consumers, and therefore your price that you're paying for that good or service is higher. So if you're importing clothes, you might see your favorite shirt go up in price, right? You might see that on Amazon. Amazon has a lot of different goods that come in from different places. And obviously, they have independent sellers on there who are importing them from, you name it, this where it's coming from someplace, right? People say there are some goods that we can't make here that are going to be affected, like coffee and chocolate, two of my favorite things, of course. But those are things that might have the price go up because we can't make them here and people are going to have to pay higher prices for it. So that means your money is not going to go as far as it can go when you're buying certain goods. So if there's a 25% tariff on an imported car, let's say, that could significantly increase the price of the new vehicle for you. Now, that doesn't mean go run out and buy a new car if you need one, but I'm just saying that the increase in price, you have to keep that in mind when you're thinking about your cash flow, especially if you're trying to save for retirement or a big purchase or something like that. And it might just mean that you have to plan ahead a little bit more than you did before, not for coffee and things like that, but for bigger purchases, right? Okay. Number 2 negative is less choices. So basically, this argument, and it could be just an argument, right, is that the US imports these tariffs and other countries might retaliate and say, no, we're not bringing in that stuff. No more coffee for you from Argentina or whatever. And so this can lead to a decrease in international trade. It can hurt US businesses that sell their products overseas. It can turn into a trade war in some respects. I put quotes because, I don't know if we're in one with China or not. I don't think anybody's really defined that. And that's not really important to you anyhow. You're just trying to figure out how this affects you and your cash flow and retirement. So essentially, it can hurt the economy. It can, slow down economic growth, both for the US and its trading partners. And it could just, hurt the amount of choices we have when it comes to vehicles or it comes to toys or etc. Right? So that is one thing that can happen. All right, so let's go to a positive finally, right? Tried to balance it, like I said. Okay, so positive is it does protect U.S. companies, right? So if you are making a good here, maybe having less competition is better for you, puts your product down in front. People will buy American made products more, and that could be really good internally in this country. So if you have a product that is completely made in the US, they are definitely going to get a leg up in this scenario and maybe be able to keep their prices lower while everybody else has to increase their prices because they're getting different things from different countries. So this could help American companies grow. They can hire more workers. They can increase the production within the United States. And this is an argument that is being made by the Trump administration on this. Whether that's going to happen or not, we don't know. But it could actually, in one scenario, it could really hurt the economy. But in another scenario, it could really help our economy. And I don't think anybody quite knows which way this is going to go. I think that was what was happening in the stock market, because you've got to remember the stock market are companies, right? They are companies, especially U.S. companies on the U.S. stock exchange. So people are unsure of what's going to happen. People are still unsure of what's going to happen. But this could be a positive, as it actually could help U.S. companies more. Another positive is it could push out U.S. goods internationally more. So meaning I said this in the video, I spent a year in Japan. I do not remember seeing one American-made car there. Not one. Now, I wasn't like searching for them, but I don't ever remember seeing an American-made car there. I've been international plenty. I don't see U.S. cars very often any place. That's not good for our manufacturers. That makes them very dependent on the United States buying their cars, and really would be better if they were able to have some opportunities just like Nissan and Honda have here. So this could be really good in terms of leveling the playing field and having it so that the US companies can sell their products other places. And especially if, negotiations happen and we can bring down the tariff prices when it comes to the products that are going out that are exporting to other countries, that just gives them a leg up, because right now what the problem is that it's not that like Ford can't sell in Japan. It's that the cars are so much more expensive because they're passing along that tariff cost that we talked about. So this could be a really positive thing and could help the overall global economy, right? Because if more cars are bought in Japan, that means the tariffs aren't going to completely go away in Japan. Let's say they lower it to 10%. I don't know where they are currently, but let's say they lower it to 10%. Well, that's better, because then if Ford can bring in more cars and they're selling more cars, and that's going to produce more income for Japan than they are getting currently, because their high tariffs are making it so that they don't get any of that. Now, you could also say, well, yeah, but then it's more competition for the Japanese cars and car manufacturers, et cetera, et cetera. We kind of can go into a circle, but there can be a balance. So this is a positive thing that could happen when it comes to tariffs. So, like I said, tariffs are one of these things that are being very politicized, but they're really not. They're a financial tool, and essentially the big thing is take a breath. Markets are all over the place. Things happen. And things happen that are economic, that are not economic, that are going to affect the markets. And you just have to keep in mind your big long-term plan rather than being swept away by people on TV or things that you're reading in the news, because they are just pontificating. They don't that was a big word. They don't really know what's going to happen. Okay, so just keep that in mind and don't make personalized decisions on that. Also, there can be both good and bad results, or a mix. It's always being seen as they're wonderful or they're horrible. It will often be a mix of things, just like everything out there. So keep that in mind and keep an eye on what's going on, but keep a closer eye on your planning and what you can control. You can't control what President Trump is going to do. You can only control what you can do for your planning and your money management. So, with that, oh, and by the way, if you wanted to see that video on tariffs or anything else, you can see it there at our YouTube channel, where I'm sure you found this one probably. And here is the information to schedule a call. So you can use the QR code. You open up your camera app, you place it over the QR code, and basically the website should pop up, and you click on it and you can schedule a call. You can write us at info@onevisionretire.com. Go to our website at onevisionretire.com, or I am on LinkedIn pretty regularly, so feel free to follow me there and to reach out if you have any questions. And with that, I did it. We're at 13:30, so I think that's a good place to end this one. Until next time, stay strong, keep a level head when it comes to all of this, and we will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.